very excited to be chatting about what a fantastic film. So, first
Thanks
off,
so much for talking to us. Great to
so
see you.
yeah, it was so amazing. I was there opening night. I was like, I am ready. I have been a huge fan of Final Destination since probably the first Final Destination. I was that kid that grew up watching it when I probably
Uh,
shouldn't have. So honestly, like it was so good to see such a good installment in the franchise. Like this was kind of like what I had been wanting for a long time. It's like a good mix of like story and then you get like the kills. Like everybody knows what they're coming into Final Destination for. Like we all know what they're there for. So, did you feel a pressure with this one?
oh yeah, oh
Was
yeah. I mean, Final Destination is just iconic, and there have been so many amazing, culturally relevant touch points from the franchise that live on for decades. So, of course, there's huge pressure when we got started. One of the first things we did was create this incredibly nerdy spreadsheet of all the death sequences from all the movies and categorizing them into five different types and analyzing how many different dominoes were in the Rube Goldberg and which ones were effective and which ones were less effective and patterning, making sure our movie had the right variety and the right kind of, you know, basically trying to do the deaths as good as any deaths from any of the franchises. But then at the same time, we were really excited about the story concept that John Watts first came up with for making the movie about a family, so that the character work could be boosted up, and so that the relationships between the characters and the layers and depths of emotion could be there in a way that the other movies in the franchise maybe didn't have as much of, so that we could kind of, like you said, grab people from an emotional level as well.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think makes it even more effective is because you have this family. You become, it's not just like a group of kids, and then like you don't really know the backstory on these kids. You just know that they avoided an accident and then they start dying. And it's like you don't really have an emotional connection with them. But with this family, you get to know them, you get to like live with them on screen, and then they unfortunately then all have to start dying in various crazy ways. Honestly, some of the some of the kills in this one were actually crazy. So how did you all come up with some of the concepts for this, like working with the writers and all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they all start from basically the same question, which is what can we ruin for people? So what is something that is very relatable that everyone experiences, that everyone maybe has a little bit of a voice in the back of their head that's a little bit off, but they always tell themselves it's fine. And then what if it wasn't fine? And those are really hard to find because you also have to make sure it isn't anything that's been touched in the previous five movies. So it has to be something completely new that you run into every day that you will never look at the same way again. And so our in the same way that it's done for tanning beds or logging trucks or any of the things from the previous movies. So, hopefully you never look at a penny the same way or a cup with ice in it the same way
Or engagement ring.
or an engagement ring, like
No,
just
no.
thinking of like how can we make it so that it's ruined for everyone forever? And because that's what the franchise does best. That's why I think people keep coming back to it and why it's been sort of after 14 years still very much alive in everyone's minds is because for 14 years everyone's still been thinking about all these same things that they saw in those movies. And so we then identify those things, and then it's this very iterative process of working with the writers, working with the crew, working with our storyboard artists, going to the locations, and constantly your assumptions are always broken when you go, oh, how is this? Because it all has to physically actually work, and
Yeah.
that's very tricky to figure out because the audience can never get to the place where they don't think it's real, and so you have to like find that careful balance.
And also trying to make it unpredictable. Like it's one thing to say, okay, we know the engagement ring is going to be her undoing at the very end, but you don't want to see that coming. You have to kind of set it up in a way that feels earned, but totally unpredictable.
Yeah.
And that's a really tricky thing when you have a movie that's all about killing people in order. How do you keep things unpredictable so that the audience doesn't see where it's going?
Yeah, and honestly, that is genuinely one of the best things about this too is there are so many, not like fake out kills, but like, you know, you think someone's going to die and then they end up not, and then somebody else does. And that's something you don't really see too much in the other installments of the franchise. So it is a fantastically wonderful movie. I could talk about this movie forever and ever. I can't wait for more people to see it. But thank you both for your time today. It was truly lovely to be able to talk with you about this.
I will say what you just said
Yeah.
really connected with me about now that it's on home video.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see your friends' reactions to it because watching people's faces while they watch the movie is our favorite thing. We did it all opening weekend. We spied on all the audiences. So now
Yeah.
that it's at home, people can watch their friends react to it for the first time, which will be
Oh
really
yeah.
fun.
Me and my friend like just turned to each other and we were like, oh, like the wedding ring. We were just like, ugh. All right. Well, thank you both
All right,
so
nice to
much.
meet
Have a
you.
great day. Nice meeting you.
Thanks so
Bye.
much, Rachel.